Hello and welcome to Clang Reviews, where I review games that are about music. Now, there are a lot of simulator games out there, and most of them are about pretty dumb things. They all started innocent enough. Roller coasters and planes are things that are awesome, and I'd simulate the hell out of them. But now, there are just so many of them, and they're about such mundane topics. We have ski region simulators, and woodcutting simulators, and farming simulators, and walking simulators. Honestly, it's just gotten to be way out of hand. And that's a shame, because there are so many great simulator ideas that don't exist yet. Why can't we experience the high-octane thrills of Bear Skateboarding Simulator, for instance? Or the sheer depth and complexity of Bear Space Simulator? And who could forget the tender emotions of Bear Dating Simulator? None of those games exist, and they all need to. But more to the point, why aren't there any Rockstar simulators? You think more people would want to be rock stars than train conductors when they grow up, but there's like a zillion train simulator games out there, and it's incredibly hard to find one Rockstar simulator. Well, it turns out there is one. Independent game designer Mat Dickie had the same idea I had, and he created Popscene, a music industry simulator, and a few years later improved on it with Popscene Track 2. And we're gonna play that one. You start off by creating the musician that you're going to be playing as. There's a surprising number of customization options here, with different clothes and hair options, and even 85 different faces to choose for. My mistake. Turns out there's only 84 faces to choose from, and if you choose face 85, your game instantly crashes with a memory access violation. I think this is gonna be a good game. But anyways, let's start character creation again. Although there are a surprising number of options for clothing here, some of them are a little iffy. For instance, if your character wears shorts and has baggy clothing, it'll do this to your shins, and that just ain't natural. But that aside, it's pretty easy to make a cool character, like this one here. Now all we need is a name. Let's go with Gohan Montgomery. And his band will be named Square. And obviously we're gonna make him a dancer. That shouldn't even be a question. He was born to dance. Something worth noting in this character creation screen is the music, which is pretty nice, nothing too fancy, but a good simple character selection song. What you don't know is that this song loops throughout the entire game. I hope you like that catchy bass line, because as soon as you play this game for any length of time, it will forever be permanently lodged in your skull, making you forever long for some eternal salvation as it continues to worm its way into the deepest sectors of your brain, until you grow mad with the continued realization that wherever you go, it will also be forever watching, waiting. Also, all the sound effects are random drum sounds. It's funny. Upon starting the game proper, the first thing I did was get some new band members. You can play as a solo artist if you want, but I felt like Square should be a proper band, so I needed to recruit some talent. The first thing I did was arrange a meeting with a man named Campus Christmas. Okay, I have to have Campus in my band. I will give him any amount of money just to hear his sweet, sweet voice. But Campus was not enough for Square, because as it turns out, the band had a shortage of actual talent, so I had to recruit someone particularly talented. Marion Cosby fit the bill, but his outfit didn't quite fit in with Square's aesthetic, so a little costume change was necessary. There we go. In the band's first week of existence, we magically wrote a song. I didn't tell anyone to write a song, it just kinda happened. Now, a band's first single is very important in determining what public perception of the band will be, and your first single really needs to make a statement about who the band is as a whole. So I wanted our first single to have a name that sort of represented how serious of a band Square would be. That said, hi, we're Square and we're here to make serious artistic music. Now that Square had written an actual song, it was time to get ourselves our first gig, so I had to talk with the boss of our label, who's named Mat Dickie? Mat Dickie? So a guy named Mat Dickie makes a game, and he needs a name for a character whose only purpose is going to be to raise the player's stress levels by saying no to some things and giving them general demands and ultimatums in order to make the game more interesting. And the name that he ends up using is Mat Dickie? Like, I understand putting yourself in the game as a brief cameo or as someone that you generally shit on, but putting yourself in the game as someone whose only job is to tell you what to do is just the most egotistical thing that I've ever seen. And the only thing it succeeds in doing is making me want to punch Mat Dickie in his stupid face. At least Mat Dickie was kind enough to let us perform our song in a warehouse, which is exciting. I wonder what performances in this game look like. Everything is not gonna be alright. We got a review in the newspaper which said we succeeded in alienating most people, which, from our performance, seems pretty accurate. Unfortunately, even after such a successful review, Campus Christmas decided to part ways with us. Luckily, I was able to get Campus back into the band thanks to my tricky negotiation skills. You see, most negotiators would wait a couple of weeks for the tension to blow over, and then offer Campus a better deal. But instead, I came to Campus exactly the same day that he had left, and gave him exactly the same deal that he had had earlier. And he signed it. I'm a master negotiator. Hell yeah. At this point, Mat Dickie decided to give Square an ultimatum. We had to write a truly artistic masterpiece of a song in a couple of weeks' times. Now, ultimatums are all well and good in simulation games, but what was weird and unfair about this one is that I didn't have any way to help it. Like, Roller Coaster Tycoon will give you an ultimatum saying get a certain number of guests in your park, which is entirely easy to do. You just build more attractions, and as you build more attractions, more guests come. But songwriting in Popscene Track 2 happens randomly. You can't tell your band to write a song, they'll just write a song whenever they're ready, and when they are ready, you have no idea how good the song is going to be. And it's not like you can level up your character's songwriting abilities either. They're entirely fixed from the moment that you get them, and there's really no way to change those either. So telling someone to write a truly artistic song in a couple of weeks is basically akin to telling someone, hey, I hope the random number generator is good to you or else you're gonna lose the game, and that is not fair and not good game design at all, and shouldn't be allowed ever. But in any case, a new song appeared magically from the sky, which I decided to name Barfolkerfnews, which I thought was a pretty spiffy name. But Campus had a meeting with me personally, where he criticized that name and thought I should rename it to Kiss and Tell. Well, I think Barfolkerfnews fit that song's true meaning much better than Kiss and Tell. I didn't want to lose Campus for my life again, so I decided to let him win. Soon afterwards, a DJ named Jez Millie offered to join the band, and seeing as we were coming up to our songwriting deadline and pretty much needed all the help that we could get, I decided to let him in. After a quick makeover, of course. That's much better. Jez expressed interest in creating his own song, free from the rest of the band's creative input, and I totally let him do that. I was willing to support his creative endeavors 100%, because it's always better to treat your bandmates' creative stuff with respect and kindness. But in spite of all the new songs Square were writing, nothing we wrote was truly artistic, and I started to feel like we would never reach our goal and be banned from ever working in the industry again. But then, as if by magic, a savior came into being. We got an offer from a major record label. Now, as with any contract, I had to read over the deal that Rocket Out Records gave me very carefully, inspecting it very thoroughly before realizing I have no idea how record contracts work, and I don't know what's a fair amount of money to ask, and my current label is about to drop me anyways, so I should just take the deal. And it's not like having more money in this game is really that useful in the first place. Even with 3 bandmates, I was still making enough from shows every other week to more than get by, and there's really nothing in the game that you can spend money on. So every time I had the opportunity to make a deal, I was just like, pfft, whatever, I don't need your cash, I got my own, But that deal was to be short-lived. Jez Millie ended up not liking his contract that much and demanded more money, and in intense contract negotiations, he got fed up and left the band. And then Campus left again in the same day. The loss of both of them made me realize that Square wasn't good enough to make it, and so I decided to retire my musical dreams and the dreams of the band as a whole, breaking up and moving on to greener pastures. Popscene Track 2 is a game that fails in a really interesting way, because as I was playing it, I kept thinking of ways to make it better. Like, maybe if you could send some of your members out to writing camp for a couple weeks and their songwriting skills could increase. Or you could just spend a couple of weeks writing songs and not do anything else, and then have songs written instead of having them magically appear. But there are so many little things that you could change to make the game a better game, that if you changed all of them, you would wind up with an entirely different game from what it is. Also, this game is bad. The graphics are bad, the music is bad, the sound design is bad, the gameplay is bad, the story is bad, the characters are bad. It's all really bad!
Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more videos that I've done in the past, I have a link to a video I did on a game that the Spice Girls made for the PS1, right there. And if you want to see more videos that I do in the future, you can click the subscribe button. But you don't have to. I mean, you should do whatever you want, you know? You do you. If you want to click that button, you can, and I'd appreciate it. But if you don't want to, that's fine too. I don't really care either way. Thanks a lot, and take care.